2 is know your boundaries. I just had a client yesterday who said, my kids are driving me crazy. I feel like they're walking all over me and they don't appreciate me. And I said, okay, well, what are your boundaries with them? What's okay and what's not okay with you on how they treat you? And she couldn't answer that question because she's never actually had that conversation with herself, let alone her kids. So then her kids didn't know what's okay and not okay with how they talk to her or how they respond or the things that they do. So you have to know what your value or what your boundaries are. And boundaries are what's okay and what's not okay with you. So literally sit it down and write out what's okay with me when it involves work relationships, what's okay with me when it involves my children, what's okay with me in finances, and my physical space, and my boundaries about my body and sexuality and spirituality. There's lots of categories we can get into. And once you know what your boundaries are, it's kind of like your own personal bill of rights, where you say, wait, I have the right to have my personal space respected. So at clubs, when people go out dancing, some people are totally cool with strangers coming up and dancing up on them. That is a personal boundary for me. I do not like strange dudes coming up and dancing up me on a club. Like, I'm there to have a good time with my friends. So I know that that's a personal boundary for me. So when the situation, if and when the situation arises, I know that it's a boundary, so I know why I'm uncomfortable, and then I have action steps to get myself out of that situation. So same things in your relationships. Maybe a boundary for you is that, like my one client, she doesn't like when her husband takes the Lord's name in vain because that goes against her spiritual boundaries. So in order for her to be able to communicate that with him, she had to know, well, what is this tied to for me? And so she said, my spiritual boundary is to not take the Lord's name in vain. So you can say, oh my gosh, or oh no, but, or, whatever other thing, but she said, please don't take the Lord's name in vain. That's offensive to me. She wouldn't have been able to communicate that to him if she didn't know what her boundaries are when it comes to that. Okay, so that was step 2, boundaries.